over today's class is called Where Are the Black Devils Today? And we're going to cover not just that, but before that we're going into exactly, literally, the origin of black devils. And going into that, you have to take into account the many cultures that originate with that concept. Or should I say this, let's go back to Samaria. Not even Samaria, let's go back to the Bible concept, because we were learning that first about black devils back in 91, when it was in upstate from my father, Dr.Malachi Z, York, when he mentioned beings that were already here. And these were black beings, black angels with blue eyes. You understand? These beings that were already here, that were here based on what the Bible says in the book of Revelation chapter 12 as those warring angels that fought against Michael and his hosts. And these warring angels was known as Satan and his hosts that was going against Michael or Michael, and they lost. They lost what little colonies they had on the planet called Risk, as we say, the planet Risk that is in the 19th galaxy, Ilion. And they lost that war because they wanted to take not just all of Risk. They had little cities and colonies that they had, but they got greedy. You follow? The devil or Satan himself got greedy. And this was the first fight that they had. The second fight, after they lost that first fight, that first war, they were sent out. And once they were sent out, the son of the devil, which we know in Islam was known as Halal, that second war, which was with Halal, the son of the devil, the son of Satan, the devil's seed, he lost the war. He was known as the being that was groomed to be converted, because at one point in Samaria or into ancient teachings, we were trying to convert the devil, and we realized you cannot reform the devil. And we was, remember, Halal, or the son of Satan, was one of the greatest teachers. I mean, not the greatest teacher, but he's one of the greatest students of Michael. But he still reverted back to his old ways and started the war against Satan. Not Satan, but Halal, excuse me. It's very common to get these two beings mixed up. Most of the time when Christians read the war in heaven, they think it's the same being having the same fight. Like Michael was having the same fight with the same devil. That's why they say that old devil, that old serpent, Satan. Obviously, because the Bible's making a distinction between two different entities. The old serpent, and you had the son of that serpent, which was Halal. Okay? In Samaria, that old serpent would be known as Shakar. Okay? And after these beings referred to, if you have the Holy Tablets, referred to the seed of Nachash chapter in the Holy Tablets. But anyway, when you go even further, you realize when they lost, those 200 fallen angels, the old serpent and Halal, and those 200 fallen angels, according to the scriptures and according to the Enuma Elish tablets, they were transplanted here. They lost, and they had to take residence on earth. Because, again, you realize that earth went through cycles of existence since its birth, billions of years ago. So many extraterrestrials have taken this planet as their own, from not just the Andromeda, who we know and moved as the predator for hunting and gathering situations, but you also have the 200 fallen angels. They took this planet as their own, and they also took the Ethiopian Homo erectus Pygmy women as their own. They took these women and they raped them. You follow it? They took these women and took them to another planet, left here and took them to a whole different planet which we would now know as in the Aldebaran star constellation. Okay, these beings, again, they look a lot like us, but they had 6 ether hair. You know, dark skin, 6 ether hair. They would resemble what will be known as an East Indian or a Hindu today. Okay, 6 ether beings. All right. Now, they took these same, matter of fact, they are very tall in height. They were known as the giants in the earth in those days. Okay, these giant or Gibor or mighty men. The descendants of them will also be known as the Anakites. Anakites will be known as the people of Goliath, or known as Og, which would be the barbarians. And these would be Caucasoids. They would be like the subtotal of these Hindu deities, these barbarians. Okay, but they took these same women and they raped them. They did whatever they wanted to them on that planet, and you have offshoots of them. Go back into these same ancient scriptures. Within the same ancient scriptures, you have Atum and Lilith. Atum and Lilith, known as the 6 ether beings, the one that birthed Adam. And then you have Nekabel and Ta, the ones that birthed Hawa or Eve. If it wasn't for Atum and Lilith, who they were born in the planet, or the planet Earth at the time, they birthed Adam, or Chedman. He would be known as an 8th ether being because of what they did with the rapings of those Ethiopian women. The product of that would be Adam. Okay? And they would be also known as the Anakins, these black devils. You follow? I can name the most known would be Shakar. You have Halal. You have Anak, Melita. Okay? And these are beings, black beings. This is in the scriptures of the old of the Quran, the Injil, and the Enuma Elish, Gilgamesh epics. All these different texts give you a story of a fight that Michael, Marduk, or Michael had with 2 separate entities who was trying to take over a whole planet, and he defeated them because he knew the ways of these black devils, or the ways of the devil, because he was converted. He was once 180, and he was given another 180 of agreeable. From just having disagreeable, he was given the extra 180 through agreeable, and became the perfect balanced being of 360 degrees of both sides. So he was able, because he knew him, he was able to defeat that devil. Okay? Fast forwarding now, out of these specific scriptures, we're going into no longer in belief, no longer in Samaria, because these are also Sumerian stories. We're leaving Samaria, and we're going now into Wu-Nuwaupu, where these specific entities, if you're going into ancient Egypt, because we're leaving Samaria, because Sumerian customs, which only goes back 49,000 years, comes from ancient Egypt, which goes back 17 million years. And there is no finding of these specific entities, okay? There is findings of the Aldebaran star constellation, the Draco's deity known as Shezmu. But Shezmu is still a white deity who's responsible for the Andromeda, not the Andromeda, but the Ashtar fleet or the Ashtar command. Okay? He would be the one that is over them. All right? Now, going into Wu-Nuwaupu, going back into ancient Egypt, there is no findings of a Shakar or Halal or Melita. But we're going into the likeness now of what makes a black devil and the difference of their works and their likenesses as compared to now. You follow? You have the black devils I mentioned, the ones who were already here. Then you have those who are converted into devilishment. The examples of those that are converted into devilishment are the ones that are working for the devil right now. Okay? The ones that push his products on our people. From the music, the Lil Waynes of the world, the Jay-Z's of the world, to the women that push blondes have more fun. I'm talking about black women that push taking away from the natural to the synthetic form, and also pushing a frequency unlike any other that is African. Okay? I'm talking about those are the ones that are workers of iniquity, and they have been converted into their devilment and are working for the six ether forces. Okay, these are those that were converted into devilment. The ones that are examples of Bilal Phillips. Bilal Phillips, these are ones that are workers for these six ether forces, for the human beasts. That is the difference between a black devil like a halal or a shakar that was born as of what he is, or a Melita as of what she is, as opposed to a Bilal Phillips that was working for the higher source of the Pale Arab for the Pale Arab devilment. These people were taken, these people were taken, good-hearted individuals, and converted into working for them to take my father down, or to work for a Pale Arab culture to convert more Africans into a culture that doesn't give them any form of self and kind worship. Okay? These are working for them. All right? We have to take on and realize that we can no longer ask the question in ourselves, is this person a black devil? Could they be a black devil? Maybe they are, maybe they not. There's no more questions to ask. Okay? You could be sleeping with one right now and not know it. Okay? If an individual is, number one, doing devilment thing, doing devil work, doing devilment, that person may already be in that likeness. There's no converting them. They didn't, because when you convert an individual, there's two ways. Number one, they can come to you in a very low state, and you can use them for your purpose, or you can come to them with works of greed, with works of lust, because most people want to come up in the world, so they trying to use whatever they can. They might be just a little bit up there, and you want to. And as the beast gives them that extra push. The extra push is money, so you begin to work for the beast to be able to deceive the rest of the world, or the rest of the African world of this planet. So when you're looking at likenesses and characteristics, the whisperer, and we talk about the whisperer in Genesis chapter 3, we realize, number one, as my father says, think about this, it takes a certain amount of intelligence to be able to whisper. Catch me again. For all Christians listening to this right now, it takes a certain amount of intelligence to be able to whisper. So for you to look at that quote in Genesis chapter 3, and think in your mind that that's just a regular snake, you were fooling yourself. That is a human, that is a being. May not be a human being, but these are black beings. Again, that this is given you as a Nachash. Again, these are only titles. When you say Nachash, the serpent, Nachash merely just means a title. It's only a title for something that specific serpent person, or this draconian, because these Anakims were known as draconians. He was known as these reptilian beings, these evil reptilian beings that were responsible for destroying a good amount. Again, I'm going back into the Risk or Razaku story. They were responsible for destroying a good part of Risk. Okay, because again, there was war on that planet, and not just in the skies first. It was a war on that planet first, and then we had to take it to the skies. Okay, and just to fast forward now to the human base of when we're dealing with black devils, dealing with individuals who have no respect for themselves, no respect for their women, and everything that comes out of them is devilment. There is no reformation, because the seed of the devil is inside of all of us, but it is becoming more evident in certain people as we move along in our space and time. You follow? So we're having a problem now because there's too many of us that are working on an agreeable level, on a very extreme level, and they can't point out when there's a black devil amongst them. So they continue to be amongst these individuals every single day because they don't want to face up to the fact and the reality that black devils are all over the place. You know, these are the ones that come to you and tell you, you know, why are you still reading these books? What is this doing for you? Don't you got any money? These books can't pay your rent. You know, why you gotta go to the ball? Why you gotta go to do all this stuff? Why you going to save it day? He ain't out. You know, so what we doing all this for? You understand? They want to give you excuses to continue doing what you're doing. You know, you could be a person that's trying to get over drugs, okay? You can have your own addictions. Everyone has addictions. Accept it and get over them. Fix the situation and get out of it. Everyone has addictions. But you might have a person, and you could be married with kids or just be a single man, and we all fall. We all fall. And you could be a person that likes to enjoy the nightlife. But then you wake up one day and you realize, I can't do this anymore. But you always have that one friend. You always have that one friend that always tells you why you want to stop. You know, why you want to stop drinking so bad. It's not that deep. I mean, you can have a drink every now and then. That's that nakash or that whisperer that's in your brain, that's in your ear right now, telling you to continue drinking, and then you take that last drink, and that becomes your death, you know, for that night. Okay, and then they walk off like nothing ever happened. You know, those are the characteristics of the devil. Okay, the one that tells you, because the devil is always the extreme of everything. My father always said, always listen to people who always take the extreme route of everything in their life. They're too much of something. You know, because they want to be, the black devil in the group is always the extremists, the distractions away from what we're doing. Okay? When we all are examples of congregational ashrutat, it's that one person who wants to be extra, wants to be the loudest of everybody in that group. Okay? And throw everybody's vibrational frequency off, and we all are messed up. You understand? These are people who are supplanted on purpose. They are supplanted on purpose. Black devils are the ones that send out a random letter about my father and run to the beast to take him away. You're workers of iniquity, you know, and the devil uses you in any way they can. Those are the type of people that are converted into what they are. They're not the seed of. You know, these were good people, but at a low point in their life. They didn't know no better. As my father said, they don't know no better. You can forgive these individuals for what they did to my father. These are converted black devils, and they were used for a specific purpose to take down a very powerful, influential man. It's the same thing that happened in Elijah Muhammad's day, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. You had people within his clan that decide to run to the authorities, or decide to run to the media and defame his name, okay, and destroy his legacy, so that now when we read about Elijah Muhammad, he had sex with 16-year-olds and 15-year-old girls and this and that and this and that. Same thing with my father, Dr.Malachi Z. You look him up on Wikipedia, the first thing you see is, oh man, he did this illegally, he did that illegally. So the beast can always point and say, well, shoot, I didn't do that to them. They did that to themselves. They can always say that. You know why? Because they use those that they converted into their devilishment. These are converted black devils that the beast used against his own people consistently. And there's a lot of them. You understand? But the ones that the seed is implanted into them, you've seen them. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. Everything they do is a negative situation about them. Everything is extreme. Everything is on a sixth ether level. There's no redeeming value. That black devil has never had any redeeming value whatsoever. The energy that comes out of that, I'm going to give an example of energy that can be manifested on a physical conception. For example, when you have rapings of women now, see, a raping of a woman has an energy behind it, okay? If you don't understand what I mean, for example, when you're conceived from your mother and your father, there's energy in that conception, in that sperm of melanin hitting that ovum of melanin. There's energy coming from that situation, okay? And there's also an energy of a rape. And I don't condone what we would like to call abortion at all, because I know exactly where it comes from. You know, when you're dealing with Margaret Sanger in the eugenics movement. But the problem is, when you're dealing with a rape, you're dealing with a seed of a very negative, horrific situation to our women. And you're carrying that energy into your conception. And into your conception, that energy gives birth to a life that was conceived from a very strong evil energy. And you have to ask yourself, is it worth having that child? Now, most people will say, oh, you know, you don't want to kill that child. You never know what may happen. But a lot of statistics have went around. You have to ask yourself, most of these child have come out with that negative energy because they've carried that over. Kids carry over the energy that you bring into this world when you conceive them. Believe that or not, that happens. You know, these are ways that these seeds will carry over. So you have to be very mindful when you're, as a male or a woman, male or a female, you're coming together to conceive a child. Be mindful of the energy that you are keeping within yourself and within that other being that you are conceiving with. That is a very serious situation. Okay? You have beings now that when you are around them, they let you know who they are by everything that they do. A person can be in the same organization as you, but everything they are about are all about the deception of the people. They want the money before they want to see my father get out of prison. They want the fame of just sitting on a podium on a soapbox and teaching for 5 or 10 hours, you know, because they profit more on his demise rather than getting him out. You know, that's what we're facing right now. We're facing the seed of self, the seed of the devil staring right at us, and we are afraid to see it for what it is. That's our biggest problem, is that the devil is the black devils. Black devils are always amongst us. We have to be the ones to point it out, use that third eye, and point it out. Do not be afraid to say to yourself, I see you. You know, I see exactly who this is, and I will not give you any of my energy whatsoever. And I know exactly how to work with you and how to stay away from you, because you will not bring that energy around me and you will not defile my life. The same thing in instances where you want to change your health, you want to do better, you want to turn that inside, you want to turn yourself inside out, and this is the person in your ear that's telling you that don't make a difference. Why you got to change your diet for? Why can't you just read the books and be good and live your life? You know, listen to that. Take heed to that, because those people are the ones that will allow you to eat yourself to a heart attack. Okay, will not allow your health to get any better, because they're constantly in your ear as Nahash to tell you that you don't have to do those things, because everything will be okay, because you can do whatever the hell you want to do. They're consistently inside your brain, okay? And they co-sign the negativity. Again, they co-sign when you want to go out to the clubs and look for women. You know, they're not going to co-sign, I think it's time for some meditation. They're not going to automatically say, oh, man, I think it's time for some meditation. You know, I think it's time for us to have a study group. They're not going to be the ones in the study group. And if they are in the study group, they're going to be the ones to create the arguments. They create the arguments. That creates a separation amongst the family. Okay? Those are the ones that you have to watch out for. And when you see them, it's 2013, brothers and sisters, point them out. It's no longer about shucking and jiving. If you're about that, you're not about my Father's work. You got to get your mind right. These people are letting you know exactly where their ethers lie. And if you're not willing to point them out, you will continue lying to yourself. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
What are more other signs of black devilment? You said they're always negative. There's a book that Baba has, Are There Black Devils?
Right.
When we want to marry a sister or marry a, just have to pay attention to those red flags. I mean, because I know there are other signs that we have to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
She's not supportive of what you're doing. Meaning that when I say, because there's sisters that are not black devils, is not supportive. It is what it is. But what I'm saying is that if you're a person that is like, well, look, let's just say, for example, I'm about to teach class and I'm holding class somewhere, on the other side of town, and you ready to make that trip. She's the one saying, why you gotta go all that way to class for? Why can't we just stay at home? She's the one that's cutting off that cord. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the main focus you have to focus on, is the ones that cut off that cord, that connection to bettering yourself. Okay, the characteristics that I mentioned, being distractions, being very extreme. Those are the main distractions you have to look for. You have to watch out for those. Those are the main things that my father said you have to look out for. Those things. Those things that, just the main thing as well is when they do things that are perceived as being good, consistently lying about what they're doing and not following through with what they're doing. But at the end of the day, it's all about profit. Those are the agents of the black devils. Everything is about money and profit. They're consistently talking about money rather than righteousness in the message. Mm-hmm. You understand? It's all about money with them. It's all about deceiving the people. It's all about profit. And I'm not saying you got to be broke. Not saying not get your economics together. But these type of people specifically, listen to what they say. They're consistently about, well, look, we got to go do this. We got to get this money. Next thing we got to get this. We got to get this paid, get that paid. I got to do what I got to. We got to do what we got to do. So cough it up. You consistently asking the people. You're trying to drain the funds from us consistently. And this is just in not just in our organization, in any organization. These people are consistently about money. Look at everything that they do. It revolves around in the dollar. In God we trust. It works. They work with us through greed, lust, a lot of hate. All these people, they hate on those that are doing good for righteousness' sake. The people that because there's been people on the extreme level that hated on my father for years. Black, not pale Arabs, not Caucasians, but black people that found ways, write bad books about him, work with Bill Osinski on creating a book. Okay, you're consistently running to the beast to help take your own people down. Examples when you're talking about black leaders, and the first thing they want to do is be very critical about our own. Very critical. Everything about it is, you want to take Elijah Muhammad and bring him and break him down to a T. You want to try to say that Malcolm X was a homosexual. You want to try to say that my father was a pedophile, and you want to run to them about this. They taking it's not just about that's an extreme characteristic, because you are about taking our own down from us, which means that you're working on a profound level to 20 years from now, when our kids are looking up our people, they're seeing negativity. So you are working with the authority over what is and isn't authentic to look at us now in a negative light. Okay, that's a if you want a characteristic, that's a huge characteristic right there. Everything that they doing, the blacks that are in certain places, they're writing books now that are rewriting history. They're writing us out. And not just writing us out, where we are is no longer about what we knew, but they're taking what we knew and they're perverting it. And when our offspring reads it, it's a whole different situation. These people are converted into what it is, and they are workers of them. These are people, after a while, the ones that are converted are gone. These are only seeds of the Chash, seeds of the devil. And that's, you ask a very good question. Other characteristics, that's a very huge characteristic. Those are the ones that you point out and say, those people right there are the ones that are tearing us down on a higher level, because they can always say, well, look, your own are tearing you down. It's not the white man, it's him. Okay? Mm-hmm. You got to look when you're around, you know, and then just going back into the mate situation, you have to also see exactly, is she ever, because the biggest thing, again, is how supportive is she in your road to righteousness. If she's not supportive of righteousness, then what is she? She's the opposite of that. Mm-hmm. The complete opposite. He or she. Not just, you know, with you, but just with a man, you know, because you have sisters that are seekers of this information. The only thing they want to do is stay at home and have sex. So they're cutting off the cord to right knowledge, you know, to knowledge of self. You know, that's a way. You know, those people that are, the biggest thing is those people that are distractions. Those people that rather than go to newcomers class, they want to go smoke some weed and drink a beer. That's a blatant situation. And some people with those characteristics, those that are the extreme level of agreeableness, they look at that and they always give these people a pass. You know, they always say, well, you know, it's just one time, it's not that serious, you know, you're taking it to extreme. Like, no, they're extremely cutting you off from turning yourself inside out. And they're not your friends. They are your enemy. These are the people that are, they're not your friends, they're not your family. You have slept with the enemy. You have slept with a black devil, and you've copulated with one, and you've done it knowingly. These are beings who do this knowingly. In the back of their mind, they've lost self. That black devil has literally drained your energy to the point where they now control you, male or female. They control whatever you do. They control, so now you are no longer in control of self. That black devil is now in control of you. So that's what you have to be able to accept for what it is. Once you point it out, say, well, look, I can't be around this no more. I understand your sister, you're attractive, you're nice to talk to every now and then, but I got to be about this work, and you're not about that. I'm trying to change my life. I'm trying to change my addictions. I'm trying to get on that straight and narrow path, and you're not, so this can't work. He or she, you know, that's the things you have to do. It all comes down to psychic self-defense. Everything we do now in 2013 comes down to psychic self-defense, because we're working against this devil on every level, physical as well as etheric, spiritual, mental, especially 90% of the things that we do now is mental. You know, a person can break you mentally if you allow them to. These black devils work extremely with the things that we like so much that we know is not right for us. Okay, they are the ones that, when we talk about the men order of sex, the men order of sex, MIN, is a very vast order of sexuality. But the problem is, through working with the European paradigm and dealing with the human beast and the things that they've done over the years, we don't even know what sex is anymore. So what's happening now is you're having sexual practices being introduced to a lot of us by people who call themselves quote-unquote conscious and are carrying over very negative energies coming from the European ways of having sex. And if you study European ways of having sex, there's a good amount of S&M, bondage, a lot of nasty things. And so a lot of us as Africans are taking on these different practices, and we're mixing that in with us. And those things that we were doing, these extreme levels of having sex, they may be very tempting. Again, black devils work through us. They work against us because of temptation. So you might think, well, this is just something new to try. It's not, but again, when you're working with conception, when it comes to sex, your energy has to be right when you're doing anything with anybody. This is real. It's not just about getting off and having some form of satisfaction anymore. Everything you do has energy behind it, especially physically with another human being, another god or goddess. There is energy behind that. There's force behind that. You understand? And that has to be paid attention to when you're dealing with that. You got to push all those situations around. Again, we have to relearn what sex is. It's a whole different subject, but it's still a part of the subject. We have to relearn what it means to conceive with an individual, because everything we're doing now is through the eyes of the Europeans, and we have to now see through the eyes of Africans. So that means that everything that we thought was intimacy and romance, which again is through the works of the beast. These are all names and words that they created and we began to use. So we got to literally unlearn, deprogram, debrief, and get right back into black magic and right knowledge and dark matter in the way we did things in the men order back again. So yes, we have to be able to point out, again, because my father said there's no more wondering and imagining of what a black devil is. They'll let you know exactly who they are when they are around you and by their works. You understand? Are there any questions?
Okay. Understand. We have to retool and relearn what sex is, because as you say, brother, sex is being totally and completely abused. It's been misused and abused. And I remember what Baba said, the true purpose of sex is procreation. And if you're not procreating and giving life and also showing passion, feelings and true love for that woman or for that man, then you're pretty much abusing.
Yes.
It's pretty much abuse.
Right.
And so that's why you say, you have all these players out here trying to be players. They don't have sex. They just have sex with the woman for unlawful carnal knowledge, not to love her and not to protect her and not to cherish her. That's why a lot of these goddesses are so mad when they're pregnant and being single mothers. Right. Because it seemed like that the love was not there. It's something that they was hoping for and yearning for that we as gods are not giving them.
Right.
So that's why the attitude's out there, the bitterness.
Yeah.
Because we did abuse the privileges of men to treat these women right and show love through the physical form of sex, and also make love to her mind and her etheric being in order to manifest it out physically. But we abuse it.
Right. I agree. That's where we're headed. And that's why in a lot of relationships it's a war. It's like a silent war going on between us because we're not addressing it. The principles of relationships have gone astray. The communication, the respect, the trust, all these things are gone. And the devil can seep into that. It seeps in through assumptions. What you think I said when I said that. Okay? That's not real. That's something that in the back of your mind based upon, because the devil works on emotion. He works through emotions. He or she works through emotions. Okay? The fact that the story of Melita You can actually deceive an individual. Matter of fact, in the Holy Tablets, the biggest story, I remember sitting down with my brothers and we were reading the story of the angel where this one woman was able to break down two Elohims, two Anunnakis, to do what she wanted them to do, was fight against each other, and they ended up destroying each other from just one woman. One woman was able to deceive two brothers that are of the Anutu descendancy. That's a powerful form of deception. And you have to look at that, which is, as men, you have to look at the deception of, and these are the seeds of these women. These are coming through the seed of Melita, who was the wife, not even the wife, but just a woman who was, she was the part of the Anakin tribe of Shakar and Halal, and she was raped, and out of that raping came Halal. She was raped by Shakar, and she was a son of Halal. She was the wife of Shakar, and she was the mother of Halal. And we as men have to realize the seed of that conception of what she did. They're living in her seed, who she was, is resting in a lot of these women out here right now. They work with us again through that vagina. You know, what she once held as sacred, the sacred womb of ancient Egypt, she's now using it to just destroy nations and just destroy men. You know, and there are great wholesome goddesses out there. That's the reality. But there are women out here who are only using what she once held as sacred to destroy men, to destroy gods out there that are trying to do right, and all they want is to just destroy you, to control you and have you working for them, you know, or just throw you away. When they're done controlling and dominating you, they just get rid of you. There's a lot of women out here like that, and you don't have to point them out with a bullhorn. You just have to just accept it, point it out, and keep it moving. Don't allow yourself to be controlled by something, because when you're being controlled, when a woman can control you sexually, she can control you mentally in all other levels as well. And women know that. You follow? That needs to be accepted too. A lot of men don't like to accept that. A woman can control you whenever she wants to. Whenever she wants to, when you allow that to happen, it's your own fault. You got to start using right knowledge, man. You know, don't allow yourself to be controlled on that level. That's real talk. You know, that's a way of deception. Everything is, black devils work with us through deception. Okay? And we have to be able to no longer be deceived by what we wish to be going on, rather than for what really is going on. Okay? That is our problem. That is our main problem, is making and accepting what is going on around us, and accepting the confession that this black devil is giving to you, he or she, regardless of who it is. Because the seed of them is within all of us, okay? And a lot of us is trying to get it out, and you have some who are working with it. And then, hey, it's in you. You know, because we married into this. The ties married in to what? They married into Atumites, you know, the Anakins, the Anakites. You know, the Anakins are responsible for these Anakites that were in this planet in the land of Nod, okay? They took and lived in Nod for millions of years, thousands of years, okay? Took those Thai women and had beings, had Thai Kushite beings. Nimrod, okay, is a product of that. And he's a seed. You know, his family may not, his mother and father may not have been, you know, his father, you know, they may not have been direct descendancy, but he's a seed of that, you know. The son of Cush, Nimrod's the son of Cush. And then you had Cush's mother, I mean, not Cush's mother, but Cush's wife, Semiramis. And realize you going into the black book story, realize he had sex with his own mother. You know, you had two different situations going on right there in the ancient texts that my father revealed to us through the Sumerian Bible. And I'm just giving you different beings. To just look at the characteristics of this being and realize, wow, this person was actually able to have sex with his mother. And she was able to actually have sex with her own son. For a malicious reason. There's no reason for that in the first place. You follow? But just to look at that and see what they did. This is devil sin has been going on this planet for years, since they've come here. Millions and millions. This planet was once theirs. After it was ours, after we left, they come here and they did all kinds of things. Okay, unimaginable things. Okay, again, they took women to Dracos, set up Dracos, and took women there and did hellacious things for thousands and thousands of years to these Thai pygmy women, and brought them back here. Okay, and did whatever they wanted to. Or they didn't bring them back and just did away with them. He's referred to the Black Devil tape, True Light tape. If you can find it, it's a very important tape because this is the time that we're getting into as well. We need to know what we're dealing with and who we're dealing with.